And these are the questions that you might consider between now and tomorrow. You might talk about this if you feel like it, and help each other to gain a different perspective on this, because you can look at a group like this and you can look at yourself and you can say that you are all studying the same teaching, you have applied the teaching, so there's a common bond between you. But on the other hand, you come from different nations, different cultures, different backgrounds, and the one thing you can help each other grasp and experience is that people do not look at things the same way. And what you could help yourselves with in a group like this is to come to realize that it doesn't matter that other people look at things a different way than you do. You can come to the point where you no longer feel threatened by other people being different, because you realize that the way you look at life on earth is all a product of what is in your four lower bodies. And what is in your four lower bodies is not who you really are. And therefore, why would you be so attached to the contents of your four lower bodies that it prevents you from being and expressing who you really are? Are the contents of your four lower bodies really so important to you that you are willing to give up being who you really are in order to defend those concepts, those selves that are ultimately unreal? And so, naturally, the highest potential for your divine plan is that you give up these limitations, these identifications, this outer mind, these emotional patterns, these physical habits. You give them up because you want something higher. You want to express who you really are. And this is, of course, something we will talk more about, because it is a scary concept for many people to consider, well, who am I really? If I am not this outer personality that was defined as I was growing up or even in past lives, who am I? Who do I want to be? But enough for this. As my closing words, I want to answer a question that some people have had, and it is, does every person on earth have a divine plan? And the answer is, in a way, yes, they all do, but they are, of course, very, very different depending on their level of consciousness. Now, you may take a fallen being at the very lowest level of consciousness that is allowed on earth. Take, for example, Hitler. Did he have a divine plan? Well, yes, he had a divine plan, because there were ascended masters who met, discussed the potential, high and low potential, and created a divine plan from our perspective, so that we could hold the Immaculate Concept. Now, we knew, of course, that it wasn't necessarily a very realistic plan, because Hitler was at such a low level of consciousness that even though when he was out of embodiment, he was not able to participate. He was not able to work with us and formulate this divine plan. He was in such a state of anger and rebellion and rejection and denial that he could not work with us even between embodiments. And that is the case. The lower you go towards the lowest level of consciousness, the more you find people who are unable to work with us even when they're out of the body, and therefore have some respite from their four lower bodies. They still cannot work with us. And that's why we make up a plan for them based on how we look at their life stream. And the reason why we make up this plan is, of course, not that we need it, although it does help us, because there are certain beings in the ascended realm who are holding the Immaculate Concept for everybody in embodiment. But it is mainly because if the people, when they are embodiment, decide that they want something more, then they can more easily tune into their divine plan and receive some kind of impulse that can help them go higher. And so, as you go from the lowest level of consciousness towards the higher level of consciousness, you of course find that people are able to participate more in making their divine plans. And this means they have more of an awareness of it when they come into embodiment, that they have a purpose. Basically, we can say that it is not really until you go beyond the 48th level that you can more consciously participate in making your divine plan. And that's why many people at that level of consciousness and above, they have a sense at least that life has a purpose, that they are here for a reason, that they're here to find something, to discover something, maybe even to learn, to grow, to evolve. And this is, of course, tremendously helpful for people to have something, because it helps them tune into their divine plan. Because, of course, the central issue with your divine plan is that it is made with the highest level of consciousness you can reach in this lifetime. But when you come into this embodiment, you come with the lowest potential you have with the consciousness you achieved in your last embodiment, and therefore you cannot grasp certain aspects of your divine plan. And of course, because of the density of the planet and your four lower bodies, you forget many aspects of your divine plan. At least you forget during the first few years of your embodiment. And so we can say that there is a phase on the spiritual path where the main purpose of the spiritual path is, in a sense, to recapture some awareness of your divine plan. And many of you have already done this to a large extent, because you have used the teachings we have given and the tools we have given to heal psychology, to balance karma, to overcome these blockages, to open your mind to new ideas, to increase your intuition. But as I said, all of you still have certain aspects that you have become comfortable with that are blocking the next vision that you are capable of achieving, especially given the teachings you now have on avatars, which of course all of you are, you wouldn't be here, and how to heal the birth trauma. And so, my beloved, this concludes these introductory remarks to this remarkable process that we will take you through over these next few days. And so with that, I express my gratitude for your being here, because of course the fact that you are here, that so many of you have come, means that we can give forth more of a teaching than we otherwise would have been able to give. And so it becomes an interaction between you and us. And again, the more willing you are to give up your comfortability, the higher of a teaching we can give during these next few days. It is not so that our program for this conference is completely set in stone. As with every conference, there's a low potential and a high potential, and it depends on your reaction what we can end up bringing forth in the end. And so, my deepest gratitude for your presence here, for your willingness to be here, and for your willingness, I trust, to come up higher.